welcome. Thank you, Craig, for the opportunity to meet you here online. So before I introduce you very briefly, I want to just welcome whoever watches this wonderful collaboration interview here. Greg and I met a few months ago and developed a really strong professional and personal relationship on many levels, supporting each other's lives and love lives, and also supporting each other's professional development. And I think we're coming just to a very, very interesting pivotal point where a vision we started birthing in just the first few sessions we had together, in going together to Bali and creating a venue for collaboration and meeting with others from all over the world and doing healing. And as we know, unfortunately, the planet has given us a new project called the Delta variant, and many of us are in lockdowns and in different situations, not being able to travel. And I had almost like a shift a few days ago where I said, I need to shift this. I cannot wait for the moment being ready to physically step into an airplane when this is not going to happen soon. So how can we create a situation that brings us all together online? And that's what we are birthing together. And in pre-preparation for a wonderful theme that I simply will probably call Bali Live Love Coach Retreat, we want to birth as a regular, maybe a few hours, few days, one day, whatever will come together, we will bring into manifestation. And so, Greg, you're the first person I really approached yesterday about that. And I'm really, really proud that we almost spontaneously parallel to that had set this idea of interviewing you here today. So the first question I really want to ask you, who is Craig Lyle? And would you like to speak more about yourself?
Before I get on to that, Adriane, it's quite interesting, these times where we've been locked down, we've all had to adjust, and sometimes these changes that come to us, we look at them as a negative, but sometimes it just pushes us in another direction. I'm the same, that I've had to look at other ways of doing things. So sometimes these things that we see as negatives are actually positive if we just have the right approach to it and say, okay, what is Spirit trying to tell me here, And you and I both have the same thought of doing some stuff online, and I've started doing some of that, and it's really worked out well. And it doesn't need to stop us from doing what we're doing. We can still get out and get this message that we want to get out and be helping people. So for me, so my name is Craig Lyle. I'm originally from South Africa. I'm a Reiki master, medical intuitive, psychic surgeon, medium, and so I get some prophecies as well. So very blessed to have some amazing, amazing gifts, So Spirit just works through me and channels that energy through me. But I've just been so blessed, as you know, you and I have been working together. We've had sessions together, but with this lockdown, we've had to do distant ones. And you've seen how successful those can be. There's no real difference. So I'm really, really blessed that I have these amazing, amazing gifts and guides that assist me to help people to heal them physically, emotionally, spiritually. And that's what we really need at the moment, because a lot of those physical ailments that we have are linked to either trauma or stress or emotion. We carry that weight in our bodies in different ways, but it comes, a lot of it, not from physical pain. Sometimes you kind of fallen off something, broken your leg, yeah, that's straightforward, you've got a physical pain. But often there's things that we're not quite sure, why has this come about? And there's often an emotional and a spiritual attachment to it. So in these times now, what we're looking to do with this thing of ours is to help people to connect to their spirituality as well, that they can have a better love life by being more in tune with themselves and their spiritual awareness, and lifting their vibration, that they can have a healthier love life and a healthier life all around.
Yeah, and I mean, you in your own love life, you had really different stages, obviously, and I mean, if you tell a little bit about your background, you had a very almost conservative life. When I hear your story, you had a good business in South Africa, you were married, you conceived 2 children. So tell me a little bit about this. When did it happen that from this rather, natural progression, you broke out and did something completely different and really followed your guidance?
Well, it's really what I spoke about earlier, how we've been guided now to do these things online. In the same way, I was very, blessed, had a good upbringing, so I can't complain about that. But I'm ADD, ADHD, dyslexic, OCD, conceptual thinker, and I'm what they call an indigo child. So I didn't really fit in with things. And someone like Einstein only spoke when he was about, I kind of saw it recently, when he was 5, He didn't speak before that. So it doesn't mean I didn't speak early either. It doesn't mean that we were stupid. We just have a different way of looking at things. So I went through the normal things, left school, studied something, started working. And of course, I was really, as a male, sort of driven and motivated to do well. That's kind of how we brought up, is you've got to get somewhere. So I'm very blessed to have had a number of my own businesses, done really, really well. At a time, had 2, 3 of my own businesses, living in a beautiful home, had 2 farms with horses, and everything beyond my wildest dreams. So I got married, when I was in my early 20s, and I had my older daughters born when I was 25. It's just the normal things that we do in life. And my relationship with my wife from an early stage, within 5 years, we realized we're young, we met, but we're actually not compatible. She's a very special person, and we're still able to get on now. There's no hard feelings, but we are quite different. And that happens with a lot of people. You're young, you get married, you think you're supposed to get married and just stay together forever, and then retire and sit on the veranda in your rocking chairs and wait to die. That's the traditional thing of what our parents and grandparents were supposed to do. And so I, after a few years, realized, well, this relationship's not really what I thought it was. But we just stick at those kind of things. So during that course, I no complaints to my ex-wife. It's not her fault. We just didn't get on as well as we thought we would. So it was a challenging relationship in some respects. And I just stuck at it for another 20 odd years and developed my business and whatever. And then I lost it. 2008, the world economic shift, and I lost everything. And it's as I was saying earlier, where these changes come, and that shift sent me on a spiritual path, actually, because I lost everything. So, well, it's pointless starting again with my wife. And she was the one that came to me and said, it's pointless us starting again together. We know we're not ideally suited, so let's just part away. So we had a very amicable separation, just whatever I had left, sold it all, paid all my bills, got a pile, gave her half, kept the other half myself, and that's how we separated. And we still are able to communicate. We have 2 kids together, so I'm very blessed in that way. But there I was, all the things that I dreamed of in life I thought were important. I had nothing. I was on my knees with no money, no relationship and wherever. And I was quite broken. And I planned to come to New Zealand 12, 13 years ago. And then just before I left, I met a lady, Murphy's Law. I thought, okay, I've met my soulmate, lost all this money to meet this perfect person. She was a really attractive woman. Everything appealed to me. We really got on well. We had a good sense of humor together. Had an amazing time together. And I was with her for 6 years, and then also realized that there were a lot of things that were perfect, but there were a lot of things that weren't, and it wasn't ideal either. So I stepped away from that relationship. So then I ended up, I'd been broken with having lost everything. Then I'd also been broken from kind of broke my heart, because I thought this was my soulmate and perfect person, to find that it wasn't that way. So so I was then separated for a while and decided to come to New Zealand. And just before I came here, I met somebody, and then brought her out here, and it just didn't work out. I was here, my daughter's here, and she didn't have any family here. She had a young daughter, about 8 at that time. So, it just wasn't ideal for them, and they went back. And I've really haven't been in a relationship for quite some time, But it's okay. I'm healing myself, because I realize that there are things that I've had to learn and heal about myself. That I've had to learn to love myself first. And I'm still doing it. I'm still going through that process. As I'm learning to love myself, I now know that I'm becoming ready to share that love with somebody else. Whereas before I sort of gave my heart and it got broken,
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing this. And what I really wanted, are 2 questions that really come strongly to the surface for me. One is, losing I mean, you were a multimillionaire. I just speak it out as you told me, and as I know from coaching you, and you said you lost everything. You know, you made this big change. You know, family moving apart, everybody goes into different directions, and you obviously had a lot of phases coping with a lot. So, what was your or how did you manage your coping mechanisms best? What did you do to really align yourself back to that point that allowed you to move forward?
But what I did at that time, and probably have done through all my relationships, is that I withdrew within myself. So as I saw things weren't working out or whatever, instead of creating a conflict, I just withdrew within myself, and I wasn't my true self. So I actually changed myself, and we can only adjust so much to get on with somebody. You know, if you don't get on with someone, you can adjust a bit and they can adjust a bit, and you might find a bit of a happy medium. But if you're really miles apart, you can't come where you're going to get on amazingly well. You know, so I just kind of adjusted where I could, and I guess my partner, whatever wife, did the same, adjusted where she could, but there just wasn't that common ground. You know, so I just withdrew into myself and started not. And even when I was separated, I haven't really looked for somebody, because I haven't wanted to get into a relationship, because I don't want to have that hurt. So I'd rather just have stepped away from it and said, well, if I'm not with anybody, then I can't get hurt. So that's okay. But now I realize through the coaching with you and whatever that it's okay. You might have to get hurt a few times, you know. You may have to go out, as you said, for coffee with somebody. And if you get on with them at the coffee chat, you might need to go out for dinner with them, you know. And you may do that 2 or 3 times and find you get on well, and you may find that 2 or 3 times that you're happy just to be friends, or it's not a partnership for you. But if you don't go out for the coffee and you don't go out for the dinner, as you said, well, you're going to be eating a lot of single meals, you know. So,
Absolutely.
Microwave meals at home.
Can I ask another question? I mean, you attract a lot of female clients and followers and students. And that's the bizarre part about you.
Yeah.
You are really liked. You're really, women really, what is that in you think? And let's really spiritually detect that now. You know, what is it, what you believe makes the actual understanding women and the relationship with the feminine or the divine feminine? What does that, you know, hold in you so that you are so well able to help women so profoundly?
Yeah, you know, there's something I've realized through your coaching. And it's come a realization when I've had some coaching with you, and it's a few months back now. I've come home and contemplated, thought about it, and said, man, you know, women actually like me.
Yes.
Because of course you feel, well, you know, maybe people don't like you, whatever. And I realized after going through your coaching and some of the processes we've gone through, I had to sit back and say, women actually do like you.
Yeah.
And most of my friends, I'd say all of my friends, are actually women. And I get on much easier with women than I do with men. Now, you know, I don't know whether I'm in touch with my feminine side. I think I'm quite an empathetic person. As a healer, I have a lot of empathy. And you know, I'm generally quite kind and caring. So I have a lot of those, the feminine energy as such. Although, you know, I'm a, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, I'm looking for women. So I'm not feminine in that sense. You know me, I've done all the male things in sport and whatever. I'm very much of a man's man, but I think I have some of that
sacred masculine wants to come out and play.
yeah, absolutely. But I realized that all my friends are women, and that I really get on really well with women and easily. Yes. And it's not that you know, I can get on with them, and and for me, often there's not an expectation. It's like I just get on well with them, and all of my closest best friends are women. I have some male friends, but actually very, very few. Most of my friends that I have, and my closest friends, my 5 closest friends, are actually all women. You know,
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's interesting. It made me realize.
What's their feedback to you? What they're like about connecting with you as the guy you are and the healer you are? Because it's almost like you have not sexual relationship to these women. You know, I mean, you are very intimate with them in the way you speak and help them through all their life issues.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, about relationships, maybe, you know, spiritually, health-wise. You do a lot of health clearings. I know this by heart. You know, I could give various examples now, but I think we really want to focus on you and the purpose of our connection, you being really, really vital in that process of helping particular women who are in our age group and find it really difficult to recreate a love life. You know, many of us women were walked over or our partners walked out, and now I'm with much younger women or women from different backgrounds, or just seeking this variety that we women would love to experience ourselves, you know, attracting that same sort of energetic, you know, playground in which we can express ourselves. But it seems like not an easy task. So what have you actually learned through the whole process of working more with women? And also, you know, what's the purpose of all this, what you let unfold in you right now?
Yes, what I've found for me is that, so my spiritual shift came about 6 years ago when I suddenly realized I had this gift. I did a Reiki course and started to see things in that in people, and that could be physical things where they needed an operation. And I started to see things in people that I realized I couldn't possibly know. So my gift only opened up 6 odd years ago. But with working with women in particular, what I found that they really, I find that women will confide in me and talk to me, and that's generally with people, but women that I do healing with will tell me the innermost secrets. There's just that automatic trust. And I know that's because I have an integrity in me and I'm very open. I can be very straightforward, you know, not in a rude way, but I'm straightforward. So I'm not going to try and make this look pretty for you. This is what I'm seeing, you know, and this is what you need to do, and this is what I can help you with. Yes. So I find that I'm very genuine, as you know, I heal from my heart and have a genuine interest in helping people. And a lot of people that come to me are women, but I have a genuine interest in helping them. And that I'm saying, well, how can I help you? And that's something I've had from a child, even though, you know, I didn't fit in with the mold of other things. I've always wanted to help people. So what I found with women in particular is that they trust me because I'm honest, you know, I'm straightforward and direct. If something comes up and well, it might offend that person, I'll say, look, this is what I'm seeing, you know. Have you done something like this? And it could be something that they've done wrong themselves. And I may notice it. So like, you did this and it's coming to me. And often it can be where someone has done something wrong to them. Abuses are very, very, and it just always stuns me how many people, women that I work with that have been abused in some way. It's just, it actually stuns me, you know.
I mean, the big word, a big need here is safety, isn't it? It's really, absolutely. You provide safety. And I see this in receiving every week my personal healing session from you. I can see that it's almost like with every week I have more and more confidence to speak about things that are either very, very personal or often very femininely geared, you know, and I feel safe, you know, because I know, number one, you keep it really in a sacred container and you are not talking with 15 other people about it, which is number one. You know, when we do this work, the confidentiality aspect is huge, yeah. But also, I think you're not misusing this, you know, you're not taking any advantage with any woman suddenly feeling, oh my God, you know, it's almost to an extent, I could imagine, you know, quite a few women are really into you and would love you coming towards them, but your professional integrity holds that space and saying, no, professionally, that is not the space to step forward and make this woman feel a particular way when I know that it's actually not my role. She asked me to be her healer, you know, and not her lover. But still, on a very, very etheric and very quantum level, you are like a lover. You are like a divine masculine that steps in and helps this divine feminine to bond something in the alchemy of a greater spiritual soul healing, you know, level. You want to speak a little bit about that? What you experience is what you actually see when you help women healing these relationship patterns, because you see a lot. You're a great seer, I know that. Yeah. But what are usually the key features that appear for you when you do your work?
So one of the important things, as you mentioned there, Adriane, is the integrity, and I really do have integrity. And there's a lot of people in healing circles, male people that have gifts and they can misuse them. Because a lot of women that come to me are vulnerable, they're in a vulnerable position because they need healing or they've been through a difficult stage and they can be vulnerable. So I need to be there for their vulnerability and be there to support them, but not take advantage of that, And that's kind of an integrity that I have within me. I'm very blessed. My mother is just the most special person on this planet, just a beautiful, beautiful soul. And, she's instilled, and I get it genetically, I guess, from her. My gift comes from her. She's not a healer herself, but a medium, sees things and hasn't really practiced them, but has had that from a very young age. And my mother's just a really, really kind and caring person. And I think I get that from her genetically. And she's also brought me up that way, I come from a family of six, three boys and three girls. And my mom has kind of always instilled that in us, is honesty and integrity and that kind of stuff. So one of the advantages that I have, as I say, is that I do have that integrity in me.
Yes.
So, and it's a professional thing, and people, women in particular, can trust me. Because, often in things, and I am blessed to see things, and I can see things from the past. And often I'll see a situation where someone's been abused. In fact, I was just earlier this week, I'm doing mediumship, and there's kind of a group of us that have now got together on a Zoom thing. Shifts, as I said, we've had to do it differently. And something came up for this particular person. I saw someone who passed, and they stepped forward, explained it, or whatever. And this person showed me someone having how can I put it, being out drinking and whatever. And then I saw them getting dizzy and whatever. And what this person was trying to tell me was that someone had sparked her drink. Now I see those kind of things, and I can sometimes see what's happened from there and and that can be very traumatic. Those kind of things. Now, fortunately, she was able to bring it up and mention it herself, But I often see things, and some of them are not pleasant, and they come to me. But I feel sometimes it'll come and I get the message not to bring it up. And I'll just say to the person, listen, I sense that I'll just take an example, you were abused as a child. I know that you've dealt with it in a lot of aspects, and my guides are telling me not to bring it up. We don't need to discuss it and bring it up, but it's there, and I'm going to release that energy that's still holding on to it. And sometimes I'll get told to bring it up, and I can go right into detail. I will smell alcohol, beer. I'll smell cigarettes. I'll get that smell of a pub. So I'm clairsentient as well. And I'll get that experience very closely, almost exactly what has happened. And that can be traumatic, but I'm guided as to whether I need to bring that up or not. And more often than not nowadays, I'm not bringing that up. I'm just getting to that and saying it's there, and let's just release that energy. So I'm very blessed to have amazing, amazing guides. I'm just really, really blessed to have a Native American guide who's my main guide, an Aboriginal guide, and a few guides. But I'm really blessed that I'd say my guides have integrity too, and they just guide me to what I need to. And sometimes, it's almost that instinct, that gut feel. And because I'm coming from my heart, I'm not there to harm someone or hurt them or bring something up that's going to hurt them. And if I feel that emotion because I feel the emotion, I'm an empath, so I can feel it. And if I feel it's too much, I'll just ease away from it, and we'll just release the energy that's around there rather than. And sometimes you need to bring something up, just bring it back up to the surface, put it out there, and then just let go of it. So I'm just guided as to what I do bring up and what I don't.
Thanks, Craig. Let's talk about the healing, because you have helped a lot of women and men as well in your circles of influence to find this device. Just how has the healing supported your ability to help people?
So the Healy is a frequency device, and I've been watching a lot of stuff with the lockdown now on Gaia and some other things, and frequency is the healing. And if they go back and look at the Atlanteans and other people that have been here, they talk about everything is frequency. And Einstein's spoken about it, Tesla's spoken about it, that everything is actually frequency. And science is now, quantum science they call it now, has now proven that every single thing is a vibration and an energy. And this German quantum physicist, Markus Schmecker, has now figured out how to put these vibrations into different patterns to help heal with certain things. And it's about a bit more than a year ago that I was drawn to that. And I've really had a lot of people that have done it. It's really helped me. Most days I did it this morning. Then I was off for a walk, so I haven't done it yet, but I run a few programs myself, and it just helps to balance you. And I've had people that have had difficulties, emotional difficulties, physical pain, and various things, and they've run this Heidi device, and it's really, really helped them, And for me, I run mine regularly, and I'm telling you how well I'm feeling. It could be just that I'm getting better and better, but it could be part of that.
It's really about quantum frequency.
Yeah. Yeah.
How beautiful that, me being a quantum love coach and you being a quantum healer, it's really wonderful. Now let's talk a little bit about, I just want to bring the big why in the last center point of this conversation. And the big why is really the big why, the global why, the universal why, the cosmic why. What's your big message to everyone who listens in regards to their very own journey?
Yeah. So it's a very interesting one, and that, I'm blessed to have had some prophecies. And when I came to New Zealand in particular 5 years ago, I had some prophecies come to me, and I've seen some prophecies, and there's a lot of Native American prophecies, biblical prophecies, all sorts of prophecies, and they're actually coming to pass. And the big thing that I just want to tell everybody is that, and that's why I'm so happy at the moment, because I know we're heading towards the light. I know it seems like each day we're heading towards more chaos. It appears that way, but I know we're actually heading towards the shift and the change. And what we need to realize that we live in each moment. We can't live in the past. It's the same with me. I had a mansion of a house, living in a horse estate, had a trout resort, had another farm with 30 horses on, had my own business, had everything I wanted. All of that's gone. Now, I can't dwell in that past and think, man, if only I had that stuff. I don't have it. It's gone. It's water under the bridge, as they say. Yes, I'll miss some of it. Absolutely. It would be nice to have some of those things again in time moving forward, but who knows what the future holds. We only live in this moment we're in now. And we're so blessed to be alive and where we are now. But what I can tell you, and it's part of my prophecy, and all I'm doing in my prophecies is reading what's up in the heavens. I just read the same books that the Native Americans did 200 years ago. The Bible has them from 2,000 years ago, and there's all sorts of Mayan and all sorts of different prophecies and things, and we all just connect to spirit, and we can see that in the future, and then we bring that information back down. So what I can tell you, we are heading to the light. The darkness is going to end. We are heading to the light. That's the message I can give you, is don't worry. We are heading to the light. No matter how dark it seems to be getting, we are heading to the light. And it's going to take some time. We think that, okay, so by next month or end of the year, we're all going to be joyous and happy and whatever. As we know in life, things are a journey. Like for me, it's been a journey for me to have gone through my relationships to get to now, where when the right person comes to me now, compared to when I was 19 or whatever, 20, 19, when I met my wife, to now, I'm a completely different person, because I've been through that growth. And in the same way, this process as in life is a journey. And this change to the light, it's not going to just happen, bumps, tomorrow morning we're going to wake up and everything's perfect. It's going to take some time. And my prediction is 2030, before we'll really get a shift where the consciousness will have shifted. If it comes before that, that'll be great, but we'll start heading towards it, where things will change. By 2030, we will be a completely different species of human being on this planet, in my opinion.
I do agree with you, absolutely.
We'll have unconditional love for ourselves, for each other. And I say, I'm having to learn to have unconditional love for myself, because I can only look after myself. And if I have that unconditional love for myself, then I'm able to share it with somebody else. And that's how
wonderful. This is such a beautiful message. And, I think the core words, we are, there is light, we are moving into this light. We become light, we are all light beings. And, I mean, that is certainly the sort of big why, the big purpose for my incarnation, for this existential, purpose in my form right now is certainly that. And I can totally share this with you. And I so appreciate our connection. So we're from here. So you and me obviously have a great opportunity to invite people in our space to have a particular experience that maybe is very unique, because I haven't seen many, actually none of a retreat, being live streamed from Bali with my team over there, with me physically being in New Zealand, with you physically being in New Zealand, and probably bringing in, one or two more guest facilitators for that session, so that we can really create a very meaningful and really purposeful process. What is your vision for our work together?
Well, just so amazing what we can do if we just put our minds to things. I spoke about it yesterday, and as I was walking when you phoned me, I was in a beautiful part. I'm close to the city of Auckland, not far out of the city, as you know, and walking this beautiful beach, trees and beautiful, and the sea down in front of me. And I showed you the pictures, man.
Yes, it was amazing.
We're just so blessed if we can just hear the sea and see the sea, like in the same way, see Bali and be there. Imagine, we blessed to have, as humans, the most amazing imaginations. So we can feel like we're in that place, even though we may be sitting in here in New Zealand or Australia or wherever it may be. By just having that energy there, and everything's energy, I spoke about it, the quantum physics side of things, the quantumness of energy, that energy in Bali will come to us irrespective. I do healings all over the world.
Totally,
so I can do healing from here. I've got one in America tomorrow and Panama on Sunday. Those are quite far, and I do England and Germany, and that energy gets there. So that Balinese energy will come from there. If we connect through our Zoom thing, we'll bring that energy and that beautifulness and the love and the beautiful place and space.
And bringing, Balinese healers and Balinese light workers into the picture, and being streamed from my home in Bali, which I love so much, Queer Bali Surga, which sits right on the waterfront. So there will be our New Zealand waters. I'm just up the beach here in Waiheke Island at the moment. You're right in Whakaparoa on the shore. We are all very close to the ocean, which is obviously something, light workers seek. They love the connection. So, I mean, if people listening are interested to find out more, in the description box below, we will just leave all the important details to get in touch with us. And also, I'm sure, Greg, you give time to people who want to learn about your work. You're doing a Friday night live stream at the moment for newbies who want to meet you. It's, signing up online for 1.5 2-hour session for 15 New Zealand dollars, which is really a wonderful gift from you to your audience to learn about your work without making a greater commitment, financially. And yet, we have the vision that we create larger and bigger events and more longer events, hopefully up to a week in the nearer future, so that we can help people as if they are coming with us to where we love to be together, which is Bali or New Zealand. People love New Zealand. I think we underestimate, we New Zealand healers and coaches and workers, that we are being perceived as a very, wanted, group of people, because people envy being in such a beautiful country. And we are very lucky to be here.
And the thing about this, what we're wanting to do, Adriane, as you and I have learned together from my love coaching with you, there's an element of it, and I know you're a spiritual person, a healer yourself, but we'll just sort of separate the two and say your advice and your knowledge has helped me. And then from a healing point of view, because there's some things that we can know what they are, and those things will bring them up, and then someone like myself can actually shift it. So once you get to, and you do the coaching, and that's been my process, where I've sometimes come back, contemplated, said, man, I can see that my perception of myself in my mind is completely incorrect. It's totally incorrect. You've brought that up to me pointed that out to me. And then through healing, we don't have to go to a psychologist and go through a year of trying to get that stuff out of our minds. I can do healing in a short space of time and take that energy and just release it from your body completely. Once you get the concept and understand this is what I need to remove, this is where there's a blockage, I'm able to, through that quantum energy we spoke about. So we work really well together because we complement each other. You have the knowledge of the love coaching and all that stuff that goes with it. And we sometimes need that to bring things up in our mind. Like I would say, okay, now I understand it. And then I've healed myself from that and released that thought and that energy from me and said, no, that energy that women don't get on with you is complete and absolute rubbish. Because you're telling me, man, well, you have so many women following you. So, and I'm sitting down and saying, actually, you're quite right, and thought about it. And then
it was a long process for me becoming this effective and very resourceful coach I am nowadays, because I was an artist and a creative in the 20s. And then I was a healing practitioner. I brought a healing art to New Zealand with 30, and practiced it very, very successfully and built up the association. And I was a vibrational medicine consultant, and hands-on, and really, really, I did all the healing, for so many people, till I decided it was time to move to a different level. And I did a business degree and I have other new experiences. But my understanding about so many levels and areas of life is relatively high. And what people need, and you would probably agree with me from your healing, is almost like a holistic approach to looking, from outside into their whole existence. And there is not just relationships, there's also health, there's money, there is profession, there's purpose, there is family. There's so many aspects we want to embrace and that can affect us. And I think we healers need to understand love well nowadays and be coaches to really help people, because the themes and the subjects and the kind of issues presented are so intertwined. You can't say anymore someone is just physically sick or emotionally distressed or has lost a love affair and is sad about love. No, it has always something, a bad breakup can lead to depression. An accident can lead to loss of income. Any cause and effect that we experience with our and ourselves, of course, first, but then also reflecting to those who come to us and ask for help. And I think it's wonderful to know that so much resourcefulness is in the space here between you and me and the others who will join our little team to help make this a very, very special experience. And, I can highly recommend joining Greg in his Friday night meetings and get in touch with him to have a one-to-one experience with. I'm so grateful for that. I have it every week.
Yeah, I'm blessed to have the coaching from you. So
so Greg, I'm looking forward to next week when we kickstart our Bali experiences, getting bliss and bounty being channeled from all over the world into our little spaces.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I went for a walk this morning and I had my shirt off, just make sure I get a bit of a tan, and just checking I've got my Speedo in the cupboard, and I think I'll be okay.
Good. I thank you with all my heart. Is there any very last message you want to give to our audience?
No, just to say that we need help and guidance. And these times in particular, there's just a lot of stress with people and fear. And I did another one of my things last night on a Wednesday now as well. And the topic that I discussed was fear. And there's so much fear around. And if we can just get into the right space, get someone to give you some guidance like you will do, some tips and guidance, some processes to follow, and someone like myself to help you spiritually and emotionally to release some of the stuff, connect to your higher self, get your vibration up. At these times when it seems so difficult, this is the perfect time to do something joyous for yourself. And it's not going to cost much. What we're doing is not going to be $1,000 or $2,000 experience or whatever, plane tickets and everything else. It's not going to, it's really cost
no, we can do it right here. Yeah. And I want to give an add-on a message from my end, it's not weakness when we discover that you know, we feel fear or insecurity, and it's even less weakness to reach out and to seek not just help, but also community and the conversation about it. And I think I always see this in my events, when I do group events, and particularly my retreats. It's such a sacred process because people stick together for 1 week in one place, and they eat and sing and dance and celebrate and sleep, and they do everything in each other's, you know, environment, and it brings things up. And I think that the power of connection, the power of collaboration, the power of community is so vital at this very time, you know, because the isolation many people feel, this fear of exposing ourselves to our weaknesses has to be overcome, and the openness to just be in the quantum field with one another, you know, should be supported by all of us who know how to communicate that.
Absolutely. Another important thing is getting the groups together. So we do this and we get, and I think you'd said 10 to 12 people, as many as you'd want. You know, there's so much power in groups of people being together. I've seen it with my Wednesday and Friday evening Zoom group healings that I'm doing. Just people are coming just to have that group together, you know.
Absolutely.
Some people don't say a lot or whatever, they just sit quietly, but they just love the energy of other people. And you know, when you get out of lockdown, people say, what have you been doing? So I've been going to Bali every week, you know. You can only say that, I thought we were locked down.
And I tell you, you will feel it if I get you to the Ocean Temple, if we get you to, you know, to Kriya Bali Surga, if we get you to the mountain waterfall. I don't know from where we can stream in Bali, but I would suggest that we begin very conservatively in a place where we guaranteed have Wi-Fi, but I see a great opportunity to build this very gradually to almost an adventure. And I'm really very happy that you join me and collaborate with me in this series of events. We will starting next week, hopefully on the 7th, on the new moon day, 7th September, New Zealand time, probably around 5 o'clock, but we will finalize that and communicate. So thank you, Craig. I deeply appreciate our connection. I appreciate you being in my life as a great, you know, inspiration and healer. And I look forward to an amazing experience we shape together.
Yeah, we're going to grow this into something beautiful. You know, we're really going to enjoy it.